It's gonna kind of hang back until Twitch tells me that I'm live. Let me refresh my Twitch page. Maybe that'll help. Okay, it appears that I am actually, in fact, streaming. So that's great. Um, Let me just tweet some stuff real quick. Actually, I've already tweeted at the 15-minute reminder. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to pace these, because like last minute, I don't know if that works so well, but we'll see. So this is the 15 minutes out, and then let's hopefully folks start rolling in. Oh, White Sarcophagus says, "Oh, yo, hope it's going well and hello." Yeah, things are going very well. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been a good week. Okay, so it is 12 o'clock. So today is August 21st, 2016. Today we are working on more Delver. So if this is the first time you're joining me, Delver is uh, an indie game that I'm the primary artist on. We've had a few help from a few other folks. Sam Cube did this wonderful like promotional art you see every now and again that we use for Delver, and a guy named Hunter helped us with some animation work. But other than that, I'm the primary artist, and I make content for a lot of what goes into Delver. Pretty much all the content is mine. Chad helps out with some stuff as well. So just working on more content for Delver. Lately, we've been working on the temple area. So let's just kind of look at the changes since last week. So we're just going to do a git log of all the changes since August 14th, which I think, yep, that should be right. Actually do a git pull, git latest. No, I know I made a change just a few moments ago. Crap, let's just do it from the app, because I have my credentials saved in here. Okay, there we go. So now if I do, okay, so there have been quite a few changes since last week. So I committed my changes for the temple work I was doing. So the temple end level end area 3 was checked in. It looks like so Chad has finally committed his changes into the development branch. He was working in a separate branch for his work. He's been working on upgrading us to the latest version of libgdx, which is our backend. This allows us to, I think it adds better Java 1.8 compatibility also. It allows us to do an iOS build, which is really, really cool. We probably won't have an iOS build out till it's actually finished, but the ability to do that is better. Also, we are now using Gradle to handle our builds, which is nice because we can save our build configuration. So hopefully it means that the different platforms we support get builds more frequently. So generally, our platform matrix looks like, so we have PC, Mac, Linux. We have Humble PC, Mac, Linux. We have Google Play Android. We have Humble Android. And I think those are all the platforms are on. So that's roughly 8 different builds we have to cut for each time we update. And I think previously we have been doing them by hand, which is not the best way to do it. So hopefully Gradle will help us automate a lot of this. It looks like he improved the trim pieces on the waterfall texture. Looks like just a fix in the editor, more editor fixes. Looks like the brazier got moved to the wrong directory, so I was just straightening that out. Right, the launch screen is saying 2015 uh, uh, priority interrupt games, and now I just bumped it to 2016. So it looks like Chad has also been working on cleaning up some of these collision issues we've been seeing. The number of posts on the Steam forums are indicating that people were getting stuck underneath the pipes in the sewers, and we're trying to shore that up. So he's been working on fixing that. This is a merge, more tweaking to the trim textures, again more collision fixtures by Chad, and I added a test case, a test room for the overhead collision, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So you can see now we're using IntelliJ. I was using Eclipse, but now we've switched over to IntelliJ. It's neither here nor there if you're not a developer, but um, fun fact, I guess. Okay, so let's look at my test room I made for the collision stuff. So it should be, let me see. Oh man, where am I? Joshua, repositories, GitHub, Delver, levels, test. Nope. Should be Dungeoneer. We also, with the moving to the Gradle build, we kind of realigned how our assets are stored in source control. That shouldn't impact you guys at all. That's why I was bungling that up a little bit. There should be levels, and then we have test levels to kind of test different things. And there's a overhead collision. So I made this level to really kind of hopefully try to make sure that our overhead collision is working properly. And the idea is just to kind of have a series. Oh, also the FOV is really crazy too. But oh, I was testing another bug on that one. But the idea is to really kind of shore up and make sure that you can't get stuck underneath these things. So let me kind of pull that guy down a little bit, maybe see if that changes anything. Again, just trying to have these so you can just barely, try to find the just barely pass underneath it, and then where you can't. So trying to have a nice gradation of collision boxes to walk underneath to make sure it's not some weird thing where you're rubbing up against a wall or I don't know. But hopefully this little room will help us kind of verify that the bug indeed has been fixed. If you guys have any other, if you think this isn't thorough enough, or you think there's something we're missing, please let me know. Please let me know if you have any other crazy ideas on how to test this overhead collision, other than just having a giant bunch of pipes that I can run under, and just check every now and then. That looks like Chad has shorted up. This one should be just the right height. Okay, Chesy500 says hello. Oh, hey, I believe this is Chris from New Zealand, which means it's like tomorrow sometime for him, maybe, or really late. Late today. I'm not really sure, but I'm glad you could stop by the stream. I know we've been chatting just about like time differences because unfortunately, for me, noon on Pacific time works great, and I think it works great for most of the U.S. and Europe, but folks in Asia and Australia and New Zealand, this time doesn't work so great for. So I appreciate Christy stopping by. Dr. Kegel says, just an idea. Start the stream half year earlier, just displaying a counter or Delver to let followers get notified by Twitch email. What do you mean, Dr. Kegel? Start the stream half an hour earlier, just displaying. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. So have like a like a countdown or something. Yeah. That's. I totally get what you're saying. So have the stream going, but I won't be here. That makes sense. Okay, that's actually an excellent suggestion. Geometric Jellyfish says hello. Hello. Thank you for stopping by. I was just talking about some of the changes that have been happening since last week. I guess the biggest of which is the backend work that Chad has been doing in a separate branch has been merged into the main development branch, and this just allows us to support doing builds in a more automated fashion, which is good. Axolotine says hello. Hello, Axolotine. Says haven't played Delver, but looks pretty interesting to me. Interesting. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I guess I hadn't considered folks who had never played stopping by my stream. Because yeah, I'm here kind of making Delver content and talking about development from kind of like an artist's perspective. So I do a lot of art and a lot of level design on the stream. So if that's interesting to you, yeah, hang out. People also talk about programming and other things that are related as well. So just kind of feel free to kick your feet back and enjoy while I work. Um, so what I want to do is we've been working on these temple areas. So I can fire that off real quick just to kind of refresh folks what that's all about. Um, so kind of how the structure right now of the Delver level progression works. Let me fix my FOV. I think by default it is 67, but I'll put it like 70 or something. So the default progression is you start in this was a starting area. It's a little like kind of camp outside the dungeon, and then there are a series of levels you progress down. So the first set of which are going to be it's called dungeon, surprisingly. Now this is a more kind of classic dungeon. It's very traditional, very like stone and wood and secret doors and zombies and stuff. And then each area has 2 floors, so you have dungeon 1 and dungeon 2. And then we hit this interstitial area, which there are no monsters on, and there's a shopkeeper here. So here you can actually spend some of that gold you've been acquiring. You can buy various stuff. But yeah, it's just the intention here is to give you just a little bit of a break from the action, maybe to do a little storytelling, a little set dressing with the stuff we have here. Yeah, and then you can proceed down to the mines. It's just a short little jaunt. It's not a very large level. It's always the same each time, like the campfire. And then this takes you down to the cave series of levels. There's cave 1 and cave 2. So this is just a kind of a typical cave area. So lots of uneven terrain, lots of minecarts, lots of spiders, and other creepy crawly things. So you got to kind of be careful while navigating this space. Maybe a candle will help us out. So there's cave 1 and cave 2. Beyond that is another interstitial area. This is the cold area. Again, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of set dressing. It's always the same. The big door that folks like to talk about. But really, it's just and there's some stuff back there as well. This just takes you down to the sewers. So you have sewer 1 and sewer 2. Similarly, they're kind of these damp, kind of jungly sewer areas. Lots of water, lots of ladders, lots of this by far has the most verticality of all of our levels. You can fall down in here and you can get back up. We try to add a lot of ladders so that falling in here isn't a death sentence. You can usually get out pretty easily. So you have sewers 1 and sewers 2. Cool. And then beyond sewers, this is the new stuff I'm working on. It used to be just straight to the boss fight after the sewers, but what we're doing is we're taking the boss fight theme and we're calling it temple or undead, however you want to look at it. But it's kind of this. I'm thinking of like a Mesoamerican kind of Balinese style of architecture. Lots of rectilinear forms. These kind of these stone heads and it should be like statues and stuff around that kind of embrace that. Lots of gold, lots of stone. Also, I'm pulling in the rock from kind of the cave areas, as we kind of have it part cave, part temple. Try to have some variation there. I'm gonna get killed. Go down. Okay, so there's ruins 1, ruins 2, and then you get to the boss fight, and the boss fight is a handmade, always the same level where you fight the boss and you get the orb and then you have to make your way back out. And that's the kind of the flow of Delver as it stands. So dungeons 1 and 2, interstitial, caves 1 and 2, interstitial, sewers, and then the temple area, and then the boss fight, and then you come back out. So that kind of represents the level structure now, and I'm just working on really just kind of fleshing out the temple areas. Right now, the temple areas are fairly unique in that most of the tiles are actually generated by the computer on the fly and not hand built by me. Um, which I'll show you. For those of you who watch the stream, you can kind of understand what that means. Is a lot of the level a lot of the procedural content is made by me and is pieced together like a jigsaw puzzle. But here that's not the case. Here, the computer makes a lot of it. I'll show you what I mean. So, so if I fire up the editor, and let's look at yeah, dungeons would be. So if we look at the dungeon set of pieces, you have beginnings, corners, ends, halls, intersections, starts, and tri-intersections. So these are there's just a whole bunch of handmade pieces that can provide variation to the dungeon. So this is a corner piece, and it has one little room off to the side. Not particularly interesting, but there's just tons of these, and we kind of stitch them together in a 5x5 jigsaw kind of way. Again, here's a more interesting corner. But if you look at the folder structure for the temple area, it only has ends and starts. There's no corners, there's no halls, there's no intersections, there's no tri-intersections. And that is because a lot of it is generated on the fly by the computer. So if I hit Shift G, this is the computer generating out a tile. And it generates the halls, it generates the corners on the fly, which is really cool. It provides a lot more variation. It provides crazy stuff that I would never build, but it still should be traversable if it's not a file bug with us. And the downside to that is the level load times for the ruins area is a lot higher because it has to generate all these tiles. So what I want to do is I want to create some pieces by hand for myself, but still prefer the generated ones, if that makes any sense. So Geometric Jellyfish says, what part of the level? This has never beat the sewer levels. So yeah, so after the sewer levels was the boss fight, and now it's a new temple area that we're working on. Axel Latine says, I really love the pixel art in this game so far. What's the palette look like? Thank you. Yeah, the pixel art's all my work. The palette, I don't really have a set palette. If I were to guess, there's probably 100, maybe 150 colors throughout the entire game, mostly just because I only really keep the color restrictions to a given sprite. So most sprites have 8 colors, maybe up to 12. But I'm not super strict. I just try to keep just a minimal color count per sprite, and where colors make sense across sprites, I use those as well. But sometimes I've deviated from that. Chris is asking, now that the ruins have become their own set of levels, are you thinking of doing an interstitial area between the sewers and the ruins? That's a fair point. It would be nice, but it means more work. Not a lot of work. I'll have to think that over, because right now, I think the interstitial areas are cool and breaking up the action, but the problem is on the way back out, when you're fleeing the dungeon, you have to go through the levels you previously beat, but we spawn in enemies for you to fight. And the interstitial areas, I think maybe we should skip them. I'm not entirely for certain because it's not always interesting running through that short level. And sometimes the levels aren't designed with combat in mind, so bottlenecks form and people die in frustrating ways in the interstitials. So maybe, maybe not. Too Crazy says, for a game mode, there can be an endless dungeon. PS, love the game. Endless dungeon, how? Because endless dungeon sounds like endless work. Um, um, I mean, it would just be possible to just not necessarily endless, but I could just copy and paste how, like, I could up, like, instead of 1 and 2 dungeon levels, I could make 100 dungeon levels and 100 cave levels, but I just don't know if that would be interesting. We want to keep it kind of short and sweet. We want to have the areas feel different enough, kind of what you're doing in each level. Um, and I and maybe you get the depth by replaying it. That's an interesting point. I never have heard anybody ask for an endless dungeon. He says he also loves the game, so thank you. Thank you for the sharing the love. Okay, so what I'm going to do, yeah. So what I have is on my desktop. I have these basic tiles, and all these are just basically they are like templates to kind of let me know how things ought to connect. So this is what a typical start should look like, where it connects on the x-axis on the negative side over there, or for example, like halls can be tricky too if you don't. So you want to have the hall. So the hall also needs to go across the entire x-axis. This is important because if you built the hall along the y-axis, when the level gets generated, it would be orthogonal to the rest of the tiles, and it might not connect, and then your level would not be actually traversable. So I have these basic tiles to kind of help guide me when I am making tiles. So what I can do is I guess I could just copy these over real quick because they don't even have them in the new area. So this a new set over here, assets, generator, undead. So ends and starts. So I can just go over here to my basic tiles, and I need all of this except for ends and starts. I don't think I need beginnings either. I'm not sure. That might be a vestigial thing. So let me copy those. Let me paste those. So now we have, they're not the correct tile set, but we do have the proper tiles to generate an entire level. So let's see if we can test this out. So if I remember correctly, there should be somewhere where we can flip the switch saying what percentage of this is actually generated by the computer and what is generated by pulling from these handmade tiles. I think it lives, is it data? Sorry, there's been a bit of a reorg on the structure here. So data, what? So it looks like, I think it's in this should be a room builders. Yeah, room builders, temple rooms. So this names up all the prefabs. Okay, so no, this just defines how the room builder works. So maybe let me check the info.dat on the generator stuff. This texture pane is gen infos. Let me look at how the sewers do it, because I know the sewers were the first area to actually use this technology. So let me see if I can figure it out from there. Looking at chat, Axolotine says, as soon as I asked my question, my computer overheated and crashed. I'm sorry to hear that. Yikes. Chris says, will connecting blocks between rooms always be 1 by 1? For Delver, it assumes that every room piece is 17 by 17, and that you have made them in a way that they will actually be connectable. And you can certainly have larger openings. The caves have 3 wide to 5 wide openings. Again, the engine doesn't assume anything about the actual content of the tiles. That it just assumes that you've made it work. Uh, Geometric Jellyfish says, any thoughts about maybe adding flora plants you can collect? Maybe allow the creation of more complicated potions. So we do not have crafting in the game, and I don't think that's something we're going to pursue. At this point in time, I think a lot of the gameplay isn't going to change. We're not going to add anything large right now. We're just kind of bulking up the content, so you guys have a lot to play and a lot of variation to play. Y2 Crease says, how many people are working on this game? There's 2 of us working on the game. I am the primary artist and level maker and whatever else needs to be done guy. And then Chad, he does all the programming. He does the business side of things. He does a lot of dealing with different like account representatives and I guess that's business stuff. So yeah, just 2 of us. So I do all the visual stuff and Chad does all the programming and business stuff. Is kind of an easy way to think about how this is divided. We do contract out our audio. The Power Up audio guys do all the sound effects for us, which is really odd and not odd, rad and awesome. I was gonna say odd and rassome, but yeah, they're wonderful folks. They always give me hugs whenever they see me, so I love seeing them out and about. Also, we have I forget we have a musician who also has helped us out as well. I'm sorry, I'm spacing on your name. I really love the new tracks you've added for us. They're awesome. They're good. Okay, so back to my trying to figure out. Maybe it's here. Oh yes, okay, yeah. So in the dungeons.dat, this defines what that level progression looks like. So like I was saying earlier, you start in what we call the camp, and then you have dungeon 1, dungeon 2, interstitial 1, K1, K2, interstitial 2, etc. But if you notice, like on the sewer, we have this. It has this thing called a room generator type. So this tells the procedural generator to procedurally generate rooms, and then it tells what chance any given room will be procedurally generated. So in the sewers, there's a 80% chance that any given tile will be procedurally generated, which means that there's a 20% chance you will see a hand-built tile by me. So in that case, I made the hand-built tiles really kind of unique and cool, and that the generator generates decently good sewer tiles. And if you look down here at the ruins, the room generator chance is cranked up all the way to 100%. So that means everything is generated except for the start and the end of the level. Let me see. White Sarcophagus said, meant to say last time that the music is awesome. Thank you, yeah. Chris is saying that the soundtrack is great, made by White Wolf. So the early versions of Delver, and his music is still in the game, was made by White Wolf. But I think maybe a year ago or so, he had some life issues come up, and unfortunately he said he wouldn't be able to work on the game anymore. Which we understand, and we were glad that he told us that he wasn't going to be able to help out. I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, I'm really bad at remembering. So again, we've had 2 musicians work on the whole thing. I think actually maybe a third. Maybe I think somebody else did. I think maybe Gordon did the little guitar thing at the campfire. I forget. Chad's the guy who really works with the musicians. So I might be lying and making this up out of thin air. I hope not. I'm trying to keep this straight in my brain. Geometric Jellyfish is asking, are there any puzzle dungeons? No. No puzzle dungeons. Are you referring to, like, I think Which I think there's one roguelike. It's something like, I don't think it's ADOM. It might be NetHack. One of them has a Sokoban level, which people really tend to hate. Um, yeah, procedurally generated puzzles are a whole ball of wax I don't know if we really want to get into. And if it's the same hand-generated puzzle over and over again, I think it would become a chore to solve it. Um, what are you guys' thoughts on puzzles in roguelike games? If geometric jellyfish is implying or saying that there's trouble hearing me, are other folks having trouble hearing my audio? So let's just crank this down. Let's make it 0. So what this should do is this should force the game to use the temporary tiles I just dropped in. Um, so that should work. Okay. Um, I need to make sure that I actually put those tiles into the generator.zip. So let me just copy over this whole folder here. Assets, generator zip, generator, just paste. Okay. Okay, it didn't like that. Let me just go here. Let me just copy them over this way. Okay, let's see if that is any better. Why too crazy, or no, too crazy says, will there be plans for a black level that forces the players to use a light source? We've thought about that. Maybe, I don't know. So we do have light sources, and some of the areas can be dark. We had a lot of folks complaining that the game was just too dark in general, so we brought everything up a bit. Um, I don't know. I'm of two minds of it because the dark levels in Spelunky are interesting, but I really dread them, and I just try to get through them as fast as I can. So I am not super in favor of it, but it's definitely something people can mod in pretty easily. Chris is suggesting like puzzles could be optional for some kind of extra reward. Yeah, I wouldn't mind puzzles being there to kind of gate secrets. I think that could be cool. Again, if they're handmade though, once you know the trick, then they're not really puzzles. They're just like onerous or tedious. Um, People are talking about puzzle design. That's cool. Um, yeah. So I had just unzipped or put the level pieces into the generator zip, and I cranked down the room generator chance to 0. So we should see my my temporary tiles just to ensure that the things are being generated correctly. So let's start brush. So white sarcophagus is simple puzzles will be fun, like finding objects to insert in places. Multi-piece door. Yeah, we've thought about having like lock and key style puzzles. I don't think it's out of the question, but right now we're trying not to do too many gameplay or game mechanic changes at this point in time. I might be able to make it work. I might be able to make that stuff happen just from the editor. Like the lever door puzzles are certainly something I could do purely level editing alone without any code changes. Cryo21 says, hi, will there be any playable classes in the game? No, there will not be any playable classes in the game. We're trying to keep ourselves pretty light, and for the most part, how I kind of vision it is the class you are is kind of whatever gear you prefer to use on a given run. So whether you primarily use wands and scrolls, that's kind of like a mage build, and you can kind of choose your stats appropriately. Or if you're wearing more armor and more and like shields and like hammers, then you're more of a warrior type. But yeah, no, we want to keep it light and keep it fast. So classes are something we're not going to do. So Dr. Teagle says, like the gears from intersection pieces, puzzle piece. Yeah, that could um, maybe. Like I said, we don't really support lock and key style puzzles in the engine right now. Okay, so let's hop on down and look at our ruins and see if the generator is picking up new pieces as expected. Okay, so let me get out again. I just realized where I was. Yep. So then we're in this dungeon theme, and it's just a really long. Looks like. Yep, this is a corner. The corner looks like it transitions into another corner. So these aren't very interesting level pieces because there are no enemies, there's no loot. They're just the very bare minimum of the level to ensure that things are connected. Looks like there's a tri-intersection here. Another tri-intersection. So I'm just calling up level pieces as I see them. So yeah, it looks like things are working as expected. So the room builder isn't being used, and we're just getting these hand-built pieces that I've temporarily dropped in. And then, yay, we come to one of my ends. And there are enemies in the ends. And stairs down, cool. So if I look at the map, you can kind of see how we had a starting room here with a corner, with a hall, with a tri-intersection, So these are the handmade pieces, and these are how they stitch together, or rooms. Geometric Jellyfish is asking, will there be any mage-specific armor? Maybe, sort of. Right now, I envision that the mage-specific armors are the armors that don't affect your speed as much. But if you have any particular thoughts, please let me know what you're thinking, what might be appropriate mage armor, or just naming it mage armor. Geometric Jellyfish says, also, the temple design is very pretty. Thank you. I'll be honest with you, I've been struggling a lot over the temple design, and I've been dragging my feet over it more than I should be. I should just put my head down and get it done, but I don't know, I've been kind of struggling. So I've been trying to make it look as good as I can. So thank you for the kind words. Dr. Kiko says, reminds me a bit of Turok. Wow, I have not played Turok in a great many number of years. I think I played it once at a friend's house because he had a Nintendo 64 and I did not. Okay, so now that we have verified that the room builder or the procedural generation is using these tiles, let's go ahead and let's make some let's make some nice tiles for those pieces. And then we can play with having the procedural room builder step in once those are in place. So this is probably going to be another primarily level buildy sort of stream. So again, I just try to speak as I work. If you guys have questions, please ask them. And let's get this going. Okay, so corners. Yep, so this is the bare minimum corner. If I were just to select everything and just maybe let's flip over. Let's do that real quick. Let's go ahead and just for all these pieces, let's go ahead and get some good defaults set up. Because I'm probably just going to copy and paste these a lot and then well, not copy and paste, but I'll use them to make the next ones, if that makes any sense. So I'll use these as a base for all the other temple pieces. So the ceiling is generally this one, and the floor is also generally this one. Okay. I saw some weirdness over here. Not sure what that's quite about. Let me carve and fill. Carve. Does that fix that? There we go. Yeah, sometimes there can still be height data on empty tiles. I don't know if there's any impact to that, but I just want to make sure to zero these out. Okay, so now we have the boring temple corner. So file save, file open. Let's go to the next one down the list, which is halls. Same thing here. But thankfully, since I already have my texture selection, I can just select the whole thing, hit Shift Enter to paint, and that should get that done. So file save, file open. Intersections. So the intersection is a four-way intersection. Okay. File save, file open. And try intersections. So this is a, or also more commonly called a T intersection where I'm from, but maybe where Chad is from, they're normally called try intersections. Okay, so those are all painted. Let's see. Okay, so let's go back to, I think some of the work, well, let's just start with the corner at the top again, like I was going to. And I'll try making just one of each, and we'll just see where that takes us. Looking at the roadmap, do you have any, oh wait, let me sort of back up more, going back to chat. So Dr. Hegel says, oh, so the one tile wide reminds me of Turok. Maybe I didn't play as much Turok as I thought I had. Fuse.core says, oh, Michael says hi. Hi, Michael. Geometric Jellyfish says, looking at the roadmap, do you have designs for level? Yeah, so we do have one boss right now. And so it goes at the end of the Ruins series of levels, there is the boss fight, which I guess is semi-optional in the fact that you can steal the orb without having to fight him. We don't get you in there with him, but he'll probably kill you if you're not careful. But I'm pretty sure you can run away from him. Y2 Crazy said, will there be mini bosses? I would love mini bosses. I would really. So I have something in my head that deals with adding some interesting surprises in content as far as like mini bosses and rare weapons and stuff like that. But I'm not going to promise anything because it may get cut. But there's some stuff in my head that I really love to do, and mini bosses are part of that. But no promises. The things we promised are finishing up the temple area, and UI pass, and I really want to get Steam Workshop support because I really want to show off the cool stuff you guys do. So the Geometric Jellyfish is asking for the current release on Steam. Yeah, so Delver has always had a boss fight. So the current release on Steam is getting old. I think it was last September was last time it was updated. Unfortunately, because of life issues for my part. The greatest part of last year was spent supporting my wife during her pregnancy. And now I have a beautiful 4-month-old son. And so that's where all my time has gone. This actually reminds me, this is, I think, the 6th weekly stream I've done. So I've been doing this over a month now, which is really cool. I'm glad that I could get this, block this time out to always work on Delver and to share my work with you guys. But yes, the boss content is in the current release of Steam. Or current release on Steam, rather. Thank you for the congratulations. Okay, so Okay, let's just think about high level stuff. So typically these rooms, so carve that. So if I remember right, they always are like, these are typically too wide, I think is how Chad has been making them. So I just want to make sure that I'm off on the correct axis, or on the correct, off in the correct direction relative to the axis. So I think this should be, I think this should work. Let me just do that real quick. Let me just go through all these. We've got them rethemed. Let me just make sure that making them too wide will work the way I think it will. If not, we'll have to just adjust how we're doing things. Oh yeah, that happened because I didn't reset the. Yeah, let me just do that real quick while I'm thinking about it. I did not reset all these values in here. Okay. So save, file, open. Okay, that was a hall intersection. So again, I believe it ought to be here and here. So, just trying to clean up this stuff again so we have a nice clean slate to work with. And I was really trying to do it, but I'm not successfully doing it as a backspace and shift enter to paint. So that is the intersection. So let's open up, I think the next one is try intersections. Yeah. Okay. There we go. File, save. Okay, and then let's go ahead and download assets, generator, copy, generator. Weird. Weird. Why are you doing this to me? Okay. Engineer, assets, just the generator folder. I'm dead. Does it not want me to? It looks like they have the correct timestamp. I'm just look at these real quick. I think these all should be right. I think that should have done it. So let's launch and see if that's actually doing what I think it's going to do. Chris says the editor is really impressive. Is there any reason Chad decided to do his own tech for Dollar rather than go with an engine like Unity? Currently working through the decision for a personal project. So I think Chad started this project maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So at that point in time, Unity wasn't as large as it was. And to be honest, it started off as just a personal side project for fun. So he wrote it in Java because I think that's just what he was comfortable with at the time. And I mean, it's pluses and minuses, right? Like it's been a long development time just getting the tech up to where we can really use it to make a game. Uh, and part of that is us evolving the tech as it goes, which is good because we can have a game before the tech is complete. But the problem with that is what happens is, and unfortunately you can tell this, like the dungeons and the sewers have very different quality bars as far as like the dungeons were done first, the sewers were done later, and my art has improved, my level building has improved, but also the different technologies we can use have also improved. So looks like it's not picking up the correct. It did not pick up the correct generator. What's up with that? Did I save them to the right spot? So it's been great because we can like this, like our editor works just for our game and it's fast. And when we need to make changes, like Chad knows exactly how to do it, but it is just a more work. Um, so I don't really have, I guess that's not really answering your question with which way to go for a personal project, but I think it's just whatever you're more comfortable with and whatever's more interesting to you. So let me open. Of course, yep. I looks like I did the old. So I made the changes to the stuff on my desktop and not actually the source control. So let's fix that a couple of ways. So assets. Let's go generator, undead. Let's go here. Basic. I don't need beginnings, ends, or starts. I don't need to try. These are the ones I've updated, so let me copy these over. Replace. And then let me just delete this. So these basic tiles, I do have squirreled away on my hard drive. So if folks want them, let me know. But all they are is a template to make sure that I've correctly built the rooms. Yeah. So apparently Windows doesn't like working with zip data very much. Let me see. Has the correct timestamp? Let me just copy the stuff over. Usually I don't think it's ever given me this sort of grief before. Nope. Intersections. And try intersection should be the last one. Yes, okay. That should work. Let's see. No, I'm erasing my game, so it regenerates the level for me. Because I believe once it does generate the level, that specific generation of the level is actually saved to disk. So if I do make changes to the generator, it doesn't actually reflect in the save game, so I just delete the save. Okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, so okay, that matched up perfectly. So that looks good. Looking good. Oh, so that doesn't match super great. So I need to see if there are specifically offending tiles, or maybe it's just the way that we're um, piecing these together. Okay, so it looks like, oh, looks like those are working out okay. Yeah, it looks like for some reason the corners aren't lining up like they ought. Yeah. Well, is that right? Looks like they're lining up incorrectly in different directions, so... This might just be an artifact of how we rotate the level pieces to, or the level pieces to match. There might just not be a clean solution. Um, two Elzor says OMG hacks. Wait, has there always been a map in Delver? Yes, there always has been a map in Delver. It's the M key. There's also an inventory for I. Folks have all, I mean, I guess it depends what camp you come from, right? Because if you come from a RPG sort of background, then I and C totally makes sense or I and M makes sense for inventory and map. But if you come from an FPS background, which we're also trying to target, tab would make more sense for map. So we've kind of been going back and forth on better default bindings. I don't know if the answer is we need to support both and just ask you, or to change how that works. What would you guys prefer? M for map or tab for map? What makes more sense to you out of your gut? Give myself a couple teleport scrolls and just bounce around the map real quick and see how the rest of this stuff's looking. I just want to see how the level pieces are lining up. It seems like the corners aren't lining up great, but it might just be because they get rotated more than the other pieces do. Yeah, so that definitely looks like it's a hall, and I don't think there's going to be any clean way to do this. So I'm just going to have to kind of work around it a little bit. Cryo21 is saying, is there any way to have multiple exits in one level to multiple other levels? Yeah, sort of. So if you want your progression to follow like this strict, like we have a camp and then dungeon 1, dungeon 2, if you want it to follow that, then no. What happens is any level down it encounters will go to the next level in the set. What you can do, I think there is, let me verify this. There should be a way to specify what level to load. This is how the camp works. Let me see. Maybe. So assets, levels, start. So down here for the start, there's an entity. Let me see what does it do. It triggers start game, which looks like there's just an entity floating somewhere. Is there a start game entity? Yeah. So this is a stare down entity. Yeah. So maybe you cannot specify specifically which level to load, unfortunately. So you just go down to the next level. Let me see. Yeah, so we're talking about tab versus M for map. White Scrapio says M suits me just fine. Geometric Jellyfish says, yeah, from RPG, it makes more sense. Chris says tab works for keeping the left hand associated with WASD. Yeah, which is, that's the feedback we get from a lot of more hardcore FPS players, is they want to keep their left hand situated right where it is, and they don't want to reach over to the M key. White Sarcophagus is asking if they're bindable. I can't remember if they are. I don't believe they are. I can just fire it up real quick and we can check. Input. Yeah, so keys. Yeah, so it looks like you can bind all your keys. The thing is this is great and all, but I really want us to have great defaults, because I think that's very important, especially for people when they first sit down to play it. I want it just to work with their brain, I guess. Yeah, M does pause the game. I don't know. This is something that Chad and I have gone back and forth on. I'm kind of the mind where initially nothing paused the game, and I like that. But people kept asking for a way to pause, so that the map is a way to do that. The inventory does not pause, so the game keeps playing while you're managing your inventory. So del edit start. So file open. Let's make sure I open the correct stuff this time. So level, nope, not levels, generator. These are generator pieces for undead, corners 1. So let's fancy this up a little bit, right? Because it's awfully boring. G to grab my texture selection, which will set the atlas and the texture to whatever the cursor was on. Toolsor says, is it me or is the stream pausing a lot? I have heard folks complain about stream quality depending upon what geographic location you are in. So if that is the case, please let me know. Dr. Kegel says Z is a bad default key because I think France and Germany have their Z keys under 6 and 7. Yeah, Z, I can't remember if that's even in game anymore. Z used to go to what we called cursor mode, which would allow you to interact with. Basically, it would let you use the mouse like a cursor, not for mouses, and if that makes any sense at all. But I think we've removed it, and if so, we need to take it out of the config. So hit Z, yeah. So Z doesn't actually do anything anymore. It used to do something like this where you get your cursor back. The problem is it was kind of hidden, and folks would accidentally hit Z, and they would think the game was broken, that it was no longer responding to mouse input, and we got a lot of bugs reported to us that occasionally Delaware would lose mouse input, and it wasn't. It was just that they were entering this cursor mode, and there's nothing that was telling them they had, and they were thinking the game was broken. So I think we just removed it. So let me make a note to self, or just actually let me just open up my bug tracking tool, and I will just make a note of that. Cursor mode still listed in bindable key dialog, because we really should remove that because it's not even in the game anymore. Cool, so that is on our list of bugs. Yeah, so Chris is saying Ultimate Underworld style. Yes, I believe that is kind of what it was mimicking. Okay, so let's fire up my editor. Let's see what we can do with our corner pieces, because that's what I've been meaning to work on, and I've just been yakking you guys' ear off. So let's try to get some work done. So, I mean, the most rudimentary thing that would work, that would still kind of fit the style, is something like that, but the floor is in fact lava. And we bump that down a little. And then this upper wall should be stone. And let's do the same thing on the other side, just to throw something on the canvas so it's not just an empty level we're working with here. Let's pull this down. And then the same thing here. Pull that down. Okay. Pick that. So this is kind of like a very rudimentary temple style level, right? Where we have um, not the low ceiling, but we have the lava on both sides of a passable area. That's the kind of I guess style or theme we've been going with for these temple areas. But as you can see, this is not particularly interesting. There's no blocking of visibility, so you can just see the entire way from this tile to the next, which allows for sniping, and there's nothing really to give you any kind of cover, and there's nothing really to look at. So those are the things I want to fix. So how to break line of sight. What I can do, also let me just fix the ceiling is really low here too. And typically these temple areas don't have low ceilings. They tend to have higher ceilings. So let me try to see if I can find the right ceiling height. Pull it down a touch. Yeah, that feels a little bit better for this area. Maybe there's a cool structure in the middle here that you can go into and exit on the side, and that's surrounded by the lava. That would kind of make sense in my head. So let's just kind of block in what this might look like. Actually, let me just drag that up. So I'm kind of making it, I guess, looks like it's going to be 6 by 6. Miss that guy there. And then this right here. Okay. So I think, again, so another problem too is there's no height variation. Like having a nice contrasting height, I think would add a lot. So maybe this temple area goes up, but then it has to go down because these exits always have to be at the same height. And typically for us, this is just the z equals 0 plane. So they always have to kind of join there, otherwise they won't cleanly meet. Chris says he loves the lighting. Thank you. White Scarface says, gotta say one thing I like about the cave system is the actual sense of danger from all the free fall places. You have to be careful or you go plummeting off the edge. I would like to see more of that in the temple area. Um, so there, I've tried to avoid that for the temple area. I've tried to have these lava baths, but not like death sentences. I do like the fact that the caves have that, and I think that makes them feel differentiated. And I think that's kind of what I'm striving for each of these areas, is for it to feel like it's its own thing, and not just a slap of paint on all the same stuff. Because initially, um, that's what Delver was all the same room pieces, just with different tile sets, and that wasn't as interesting. So that's why I've been trying to come up with themes and things to keep in mind when I'm making these areas. So with the caves, it was fairly organic, twisty stuff with lots of deadfalls. Chris says, does the light share simply use distance to light, or are normals taken into account? Um, that's a more of a technical question for Chad, but I think it is just light. Like here, if I, this isn't super great, but if I add let's add a light, add an ambient light, because these get baked out to the scene. So turn on light, let's crank it like pretty bright. Even if I move it outside of the scene, it's still, oh, it does take normals into account, so that's good. So it is, so what I think what Chris is asking is the lighting actually doesn't light if it's outside of the level geometry. Now, I don't think the same thing is true of meshes. I think meshes receive light differently. So if I add that big stone head, because it's huge, I think they receive light based on how far it is from the origin, maybe? Maybe I'm making a liar of myself here. Yeah. But yeah, Chad would be a better contact to ask about that. Tesla Coil says you could make the ceiling an inverted pyramid, which gives you more vertical height to work with. Oh, that's interesting. I think I get what you're saying. I think I was just going to have it. So let me see if I can. Let me try to block in maybe what this might look like more reasonably. So because he's like height variation is great, and I want to have this temple area kind of be higher. So let's just go ahead and really roughly pull this up. I'm going to pull it up higher than it actually probably will go, and then we can dial it back as needed later. Okay, I grabbed too much there. I just want to get the lava only. So I'm just pulling up. I'm pulling up just the ceiling for the lava areas, so that way I get this nice temple piece kind of hanging out in the middle. And maybe it'll make more sense when I actually go into game mode. Oh man, I gotta eyeball it. Come on, eyes, don't fail me. That looks close. I think I was off by 1. There we go. That should be right. Okay, let's pull that up. Okay, so now we should have, like lava are these big open caverns with this sort of structure in the middle. I don't like the low ceilings here either, so let's go ahead and just, I want, because it feels like they're connected, and I want the temple in the middle to feel like it's separate. So let's pull that up like that, which is good. And over here on this kind of walkway area, let's pull this one up too, so it feels like it stands by itself. Okay. Cool. So we do have the feeling that this is a structure. I want to add the height variation to the floor now. So let's do that. So let's just rough it in, and then let's see if we can make the stairs work, because we're probably going to have some stairs leading up to this. So let's do something like this, and I'm just going to ballpark it maybe up to. Super rough. So 1, 2. Okay. I may have not given myself enough. Let's just see. Just again, try and work in broad strokes. So that definitely has the big temple feel right there. Let's go ahead and kind of what I've been doing is upper wall here should be gold, lower wall should be crummy gold, and then just drag that up, kind of reinforcing some of these patterns I've been using in other places in the temple set. Maybe the upper is mossy gold. And again, I'm just kind of playing around, just trying to get a feel for how things will feel and look. I probably will have to adjust the height of this. I'm just trying to make sure it looks and feels correct. So that's cool. What I want is a series of steps coming down. Man, this is going to be too big. Even if it's something like that. Yeah. So I may have to pull. So let's see. Let's see how far off I am. Yes, yes, no. So let's pull that down a little bit. I'm just going to pull it down until it's passable. Okay, that one is not. So these are passable, and we're still not quite there. I don't know if I want to go too far back into the start piece. So I can just drop the whole, adjust the whole level of this entire thing. So I can do lower the floor down to there and lower the ceiling to there. And that makes it line up a little bit better that way. So we still have some height variation. Okay. That's cool. Typically inside these we have a little, we recess the floor and the ceiling just a bit. Just again add some interest. Also add steps on the other side because that's good to have, otherwise it's not passable. When designing tiles, you need to make sure that you can make sure that it's passable in both directions. Otherwise, players can potentially get stuck. Okay, so let's see how this works. Oh, is it off? It might also, yeah, it might not be exactly centered either. So this way might be. Yep, yep, yep. Nope. So if I pull this one up, can I still get up all of it? Okay. Let me try selecting all of these, pulling them all up one. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. So it's traversable. We still have line of sight issues there to there, but we do have some blocking stuff. I need to, while I'm thinking about it, do this little piece right here. Maybe make the lower wall like that. Yeah. And similar, maybe the upper wall on this guy is something like that. Yuck. Just make sure where they meet is a nice place and not something grody. So there we go. I think that looks nice. Looking at chat. So Chris he says he's been trying to make a light that works well with pixel art textures, and he always thought the best way is to ignore normals, but it looks good. I could have also tested coils pointing out. I could have recessed the edge where the stairs match. Yeah, so I was thinking about that as well. I think what he's saying is you could have the stairs actually go into this area just by lowering them here, which I think also is interesting. Actually, I could do the inverse of that now too. I could pull these up a touch. Let's see what that looks like. Again, that's just providing more cover. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. And I'm just kind of using the texture itself as a guide to remember how far to pull these up. Okay. I think that has a similar effect to what Tesla Coil was suggesting. So up, up, up. Then we have this room here that's kind of wide and open. So what to do with that? What to do with that? I mean, we can always. We always could just. I guess the cheap thing or the simple thing to do is just to fill it in, right? So now this blocks. Actually, I think what might be more interesting is actually just to maybe add some maybe add some lava in here. Maybe that's the way to go. Let's see what that looks like. It'll definitely add some ambient light, which is always nice. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help with our viz issues, but it certainly, I mean, it adds something to kind of negotiate around, which is all right. I should add. Let me just add a torch here. Add a torch here, just to kind of. Generally, it's useful to have torches to kind of show the player kind of where they're expected to be going. So I just add a few torches in. It also brightens things up. We still have a nice ambient light from that. We can get out of that. That's good. I think I might also pull up the center area to actually add some more contrast. Maybe way up. I don't know. Actually, we change the upper wall textures to a stone. It's looking all right. Actually, do we still have? I think we still have a particle that was particles lava fountain. Maybe is that what I'm thinking about? Maybe it'd be cool to have these kind of falling down, or do these shoot up? Let me see which direction these go. Yeah, these go up, which could be all right. I can just kind of add lots of these and see what that will do for us. Okay, try to avoid having a neatly constructed pattern. So what does that look like? That's kind of cool. I don't think these lava things don't actually hurt you, but I think it just adds some visual variation. Can I affect the timing of these at all? That might help break up the pattern I'm seeing there. So make spawn interval on this one maybe 125. Maybe the spawn interval, that was that one. So make this maybe more frequent, like 80. And maybe this one's 125. And this one is 160. And this one is, say, 195. So what this should do is it should just break up how they're being spawned. So that way you don't get them being spawned at the same time, at least not as frequently, so maybe it looks a little bit better. Let me also change the velocity. So I'm going to kind of just kind of play with the velocity. So the guy in the center is the one that sends it up the highest, and the ones towards the outside don't go up nearly as much. Okay. Again, just trying to break up this uniformity. Yeah, it's looking better. Cool. Chris said he's heading off to work. Have a great Sunday. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good day at work. Cryo21 says I can make a pillar broken. Yep, that's a great idea. I've used that trick in other places, but it's a really easy trick to do with the Delver engine. I can just, again, since I'm already doing the whole floor and ceiling trick, I can just do something like that, and then maybe pull that up, pull that down. I had to clear my selection there to make sure that the handles were appropriately showing. Something like that, right? That's cool. Because this is a ruined area, so have that broken adds a little bit visual interest, which is always nice to have. I do need to make sure that, see, I broke that torch by doing that, so you have to be careful because the torches need a certain amount of wall before they'll actually place themselves on the wall. Otherwise, they get placed on the floor. And I'd rather have it on a wall. I think it just looks better on walls. So just simply removing that marker fixes that issue. We still have the level being lit up, which is cool. That's nice. Let's what to do. Well, actually, what I like to do is I like to imply that the area is bigger than it seems. So what I can do is I can basically imply that this is supposed to be a four-way intersection, but actually it isn't, if that makes any sense at all. So something like that, and then I can have these kind of all broken and nasty because this area is crumbling. So pull that down, like that. You pull that up. I'm trying to make sure that it's still traversable. Pull that down maybe, and then change the floor to this rubble texture. Also maybe do something like this and pull this one down a little bit. Then maybe I can really kind of sell the slope on these guys too. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. Yep. So we got this that goes to nowhere. So I think what I ought to do is again add maybe rubble on the other side, but have it look like it's caved in or something. So let's do that. But the upper wall needs to be stone, And I'm going to pull this up and put it around like that. But then what I want to do, actually, this whole ceiling needs to be fixed real quick. So, yikes. That's correct. So G, grab textures. I don't want to paint adjacent. I just want to change the ceiling to rock. There we go. And same thing here. Paint the ceiling to rock. And over here. So that way I can pull down the ceiling to make it look like that part is caved in. And that's why that area doesn't exist anymore. Just trying to tell little stories with the level here. Then also I want to grab that, but change the ceiling here to rock. So that way it does feel like it is standing on its own. Okay, so now we have this cool, oh, I missed it? I missed a chunk right here. Interesting. So grab that texture, and then ceiling to rock. Okay, cool. I missed that one also. This one's gonna be a little tricky since I did change the rubble texture here. I don't want to undo my changes there, so I can just gotta be careful how I do it. Okay, so I should have fixed the ceiling, and I missed the spot for lava, of course. So let's select that, change the ceiling to rock. I should have done this earlier, it would have been much faster. But yeah, lessons learned. Okay, so here, I just basically want to, so I think it would be okay to actually carve that out and maybe potentially have it connect, but also have it like not really connect, if that makes any sense at all. So let me pull that up like it would be. So if I'm standing here, I can see through, but I'm going to start pulling the ceiling down in crazy ways to make it. So upper wall here should be rock. There we go. So this is going to be way down. Okay, even further down. I don't want it to be traversable. I just want you to be able to peek through. I don't want it to be kind of rough. So on this side, you can see through, but you can't get out. I want to maybe raise it up. Well, yeah, I'll raise it up so it's at eye level, and that way we can actually see into here a little bit better. And it still makes sense, kinda. Yep, so you can definitely see into here, but you can't get in here, which is nice, because I mean, that means accidentally stuff might connect on that side, which is kind of cool. But I don't really necessarily want to make it always connect. And then let's just start pulling this down. Actually, let me fix all this real quick. So for this, I want the lower wall to be stone as well, and the full. There we go. So that should sort that out. Same here. I'm just trying to make sure that when I create these caves that they are being textured properly. Okay. So now let's just get crazy with pulling the ceiling down, kind of in a pattern that kind of gradates out from there, because that, to me, this is kind of where the main cave-in happened. So like that, grab that there, pull it down like that. Okay. And then also maybe maybe here that the floor should be rock as well. Just trying to sell that this whole cave-in story I'm building up in my mind. Okay, pull that down. Good ways. Let's just see if that looks interesting. Let's just quickly pop in and take a peek. Yeah, that looks all right. Maybe put these back to rubble. Okay. And again, you might not. Can I jump that? I can jump that. Okay. Which is all right. You can see in there, but there's nothing back there. Tesla, of course, is a perfect spot for a brazier. I have added braziers to the game. I just haven't done much with them yet. I could certainly put braziers there instead of torches. Um, you said a lava waterfall in the center. I thought about that too. I do have that going on in one of my start level pieces. Um, I could just add it. What I could do, just to make a lava waterfall, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just raise the floor, and then boom, you got it. So we could have it like off to one side there. That may work okay. Yeah, that may work all right. It's asymmetric, but asymmetric is okay. Yeah, I think that's cool. I just want to make sure that I think I do have a particle system inside here that I need to kind of pull out, kind of space these out a little bit. Yeah, maybe the particle systems actually being close to where the lava is plopping in makes a little bit more sense. I mean, I know real lava doesn't actually bubble up like this because it's pretty viscous stuff, but yeah, that looks all right. But then I need to really tone back this guy. It has a high velocity, maybe to like something like that. Now that he's not the center of attention, I can just kind of use that back. That's cool. So we have this interesting little lava fall feature now, which is just kind of coming out of the ceiling. That's okay. I'm not going to sweat it too much. What this does is it does break viz. It does add just some more variety. Okay, so that's cool. Dr. Kegel says, stupid meta question about the sewers. Where does the sewage come from? The caves? The dungeons? A city we do not see on entry? And how does it flow through frozen land to freezing without freezing the pipes? Yeah, the way these areas connect is definitely not realistic. They're there more to give you just a variety of stuff to look at, to be honest. Um, yeah, I had often wondered about with the interstitial areas, making them actually much longer, so it felt like you were going somewhere else rather than always going down. But I didn't do that in favor of keeping the interstitial areas short. Okay. And it's you guys' favorite time watching me make rocks. Or at least make cave-esque features in Delver Engine. Just kind of trying not to get too consumed by the small stuff too early. So just making maybe big selections and just kind of playing around with it. Okay. Yeah, it looks okay. We typically have like lava falls and stuff, which I think are cool things to do in the lava area. Oh, I should probably also imply that this also went somewhere at 1.2, like it's a broken four-way intersection. So I can maybe lower this quite a bit. Lower this one also. Kind of angle that down. Angle that down. Actually, let me get the other way around. Let me do grab that, miss that, and then change the ceiling to that. There we go. Tesla Coil says, in his mind, it would make a lot more sense if the caves and the sewer were swapped. Yeah, I guess that would make the flow more logical. You could kind of imagine that the sewers were for the dungeon area. I guess I mean logically that certainly makes more sense. Okay. Just blocking caves. So I want the lava fall over here, maybe. So pull that up. Good ways. Then it should do something like maybe like this. This is where the lava actually falls. I want to maybe make it a two-tier thing. That would be cool. And kind of raise the stone to support it. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll break it up a little bit by something like that. And then pull that up. Just trying to make little interesting shapes is all I'm trying to do. Pull it down a bit. Pull that one way down. Okay, yeah, it's looking all right. Again, just trying to close in this ceiling. Trying to give the cave, make it feel like it is a natural cave, so it's kind of a rounded shape and not this pure boxy kind of look that it has right now. seeing how that lights. It's looking okay. Just going to play around with some slopes. Maybe I should really widen this guy out here. Actually, that kind of works. Okay. Just trying to make sure that all this stuff agrees with itself. Okay. So there are about 15 minutes left on the stream. So if you guys have any dying questions, now is the time to ask them. I'm just going to continue to make happy little rocks. Again, just trying to break up how the outside of this looks. Also, I really need to think about breaking up this line of sight here, so maybe I'll add a big stalactite kind of right in the middle. And that will also help inform how the ceiling looks, but also it will help with kind of breaking up that line of sight. So if I do something like that, is that doing what I want it to do? More or less. More or less. It's still a bit, but I don't want to get too close to the actual temple there. I want to give a little bit of room for it to breathe. Just pulling these up. So I still want a little bit of room for the lava in between the temple and this cave feature, but maybe I can maybe fan out it in this direction. Have a nice gradation there. Throw some slopes on. Can I do it? Yeah, that's the fast way to do it too. I can make a multi-selection. Okay. Pull that down, down, down. I wonder if these broken pieces will be too visually similar. Hopefully not. We'll see. White Scavis says, geez, the stream flew right by. Yep, I agree. Sometimes when I get into the whole like zone, this time just slips right by. So sometimes, so he asked, do I ever stream during the week, which is a great question. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do what I call my Delver bonus streams. Those kind of come up at random, and whenever I have the time to do so, because most of my time is spent, with my family, with my son. So if he is cooperating and he falls asleep early, um, I will hop on and stream some Delver development. These particularly fall during the week in the evenings. And the only way I really kind of promote those is just I'll hop on Twitter real quick. I will say, hey, doing a Delver bonus stream, and off I go. So these are very kind of last minute. So if you subscribe to me, I guess through Twitch, or if you follow me on Twitter, those are probably the best ways to find out when these things start. And they would be very similar in format to this. Sometimes they're as long, sometimes they're not as long. Again, it's all based on how much time I have to work. I'm glad you folks find these interesting and do come and hang out with me while I work. It is nice having company. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Maybe that looks okay. Yeah. It's not super well lit, so it's hard to tell what it is. So from this side, it definitely makes more sense. We still have some viz issues that way, but it's definitely dodgeable. Like it's only this area that's kind of under threat. I don't know. I may play. I'll keep working on this after the stream and try to get it into uh, a better state. Yeah, but I'll just keep noodling on this while time permits. Dr. Kegel, yeah, I have about 10 minutes left. I'll just keep working. Not heading out just yet. I guess I was just kind of talking about my schedule and stuff like that. But I'm still sticking around for a few more moments. So you're not rid of me just yet. Maybe it's always danger when I do this, but let's just carve this out and then close it back up, or at least not fill it in solid, but tighten it up a little bit. Because I always run the risk of either creating connections where I don't want to, or sometimes I think some of these weird texture issues we're seeing are where it is showing like the backside of a tile where you're not supposed to actually be able to see it, but because of these you can. But these also result in these really kind of cool and unexpected little holes you can see into other level pieces, and I like having these, even if they can be kind of problematic at times. Yeah, it's looking better. I don't know. I'm still feel like I made the ceiling way too high, so I just grab a chunk like this and just bring the whole darn thing down. Where does it decide to put the handle for that? I don't know. There we go. There we go, but I accidentally pushed that down too far, so let's pull this up. Looking better-ish. We'll see. Maybe I need to just do something like that. Pull the ceiling down here. Like that. Pull the ceiling down here. So now this is actually, this guy I can just straight up just fill because it's connecting. I think it looks better. The wide open areas really kind of are boring, and I don't want you to have to really hunt like vertically a lot for detail, so I want to kind of be there. So I think this is looking better. It has this kind of, I think it looks more interesting just having the ceiling a little bit lower. That way the light from the lava can catch it. Yeah, it implies that there's more stuff going on back there than there really is. Um, maybe I'll kind of quickly just add a little way to get up out of the lava. Here, I should probably make it just a little bit higher. And here, here, something like this. Again, trying to add ways to get out of the lava without making it look silly. Like why is there a spot of lava there by itself? So let's just fill that guy in, pull him up. Again, just trying to make this make some sense a little bit. Not a lot, but some. Okay, so this should allow you to go down to the lava back here, get back out. This is traversable all the way around, which is nice. That's cool. I think it looks somewhat interesting. I'm gonna really, man, I just need to really buckle down and just pull the ceiling down in big swaths. So let's just go something like that. And then here, let's just pull this way down too. And maybe one side having one side open and one side a little bit more closed also adds a nice bit of contrast to the level. Because I'm not against open per se. I just like having variation. Okay. And pull that down. Push that up. Push that up. So grab too much there. Let's grab this. Pull this down. Cool. Oh. It's looking better-ish. So I don't want to have, I want this to be still be passable, so I have to be careful about how much I lower the ceilings by. Okay, that still works. And then I'll probably do this, I'll do the same trick here. Carve that out, and then just kind of pinch everything in. Just variety. Just trying to make it look good for you folks. Oh, Dr. Kegel said ladders. Yeah, no, ladders are a way that, at least an easy way for me to allow people to get back out of the lava. Um, I have used a couple of those um, in places, so I'm not above it. I don't use as many here in the lava area because I've kind of established that there's a cave system going on here that I'm kind of comfortable um, having these cave formations help get you out of the lava. Um, so yeah, I just use the rock. That's basically it's just a stair to get you out. Um, but yeah, when in doubt, if I can't really figure out a creative way to make you get out of the lava, I'll put a ladder there for you. Okay, that's looking better. Yeah. So again, I think a large amount of my problems with this area is just how high the ceiling was. This on this side is okay because it's nice and open. You can see back in there. It's spooky. Maybe there's a tiny little guy here. Just trying to break up that square form again. That's looking all right. Let's pull this guy down. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice little feature, I think. And also, you have to remember that in engine, there's going to be the fog, which provides atmospheric diffusion, so that things do get a little bit lighter the further they be away from the camera. So it will lighten up the area behind that stalactite column thing, and it will actually pop a little bit better. Um, so it is 2 o'clock also, so I need to be save our work before I do anything crazy, and it's about time for me to head back and hang out with my family. But I thank you all for showing up to hang out with me. I look forward to my Sunday streams very much. Like I said, I think this is the 6th one in a row I've done. Um, if you want to see the bonus streams I do, just follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. That's how you get notified about those. Thanks again for showing up, supporting me, Delaware fans. You guys are the best, and have a good rest of your Sunday.